Let's see if she likes it. Definitely ain't running lean anymore. I'll put the new air cleaner on tomorrow and see what it does. Take it for a ride and see if it's happy. Good morning, YouTube friends. So today we're going to swap out this air cleaner for this one. And mostly I'm doing it for looks. I got this air cleaner from Renegade because it was supposed to have been returned but never got returned, and it fits my bike and I like the way it looks a lot better than the stock one, and it'll flow more air than the stock one. It's got a stock, I'm pretty sure it's stock, it's a stage 1, it's a Harley intake, Harley air cleaner, but it's real thin. This one's much thicker filter. It's going to let a lot more air in. So with letting a lot more air in on an early twin cam, you need a tune, because the twin cams were set up to run lean to comply with the EPA. And if you just swap out the air cleaner and the pipes, it's going to run way too lean and you'll get detonation and break a piston. All right, where was I before I got interrupted? Yeah, they were set to run really lean so that they would comply with emission standards from the EPA. And this is an early enough one that it doesn't have oxygen sensors, so it won't try and correct itself. This sets the fuel based on manifold absolute pressure, throttle position, and engine speed. And it does not correct fuel trim for lean or rich, because it doesn't know if it's lean or rich, because it doesn't have oxygen sensors. So to keep it from running too lean or too rich, if you change the exhaust and the air cleaner, you have to put a tune in it and make it run a little bit fatter so you don't burn valves or break pistons or do horrible things to your engine. So I put a tune in it yesterday because when I owned my own shop, I had the stuff to do that, and I still have it. So it should be good to go once I swap out this air cleaner. Right now it's going to be running rich because of the tune I put in it. And yeah, very important not to run too lean for the reasons I already mentioned, especially since these came from the factory lean. So let's get started. We'll get this thing off and get the other one on, and we'll film the whole process, and it'll be a good time. Here we go. All right, let's go ahead and get the stock one off. And as you can see, there's a lot of oil in here. There's a lot of oil in here because the engine oil was overfilled and the excess oil was pushed out through the breather and into the air cleaner, and it makes a mess when you do that. And that happens with pretty much any bike. You overfill the oil and it gets pushed out through the breather and makes a mess. Once I get this off, I'll wipe all the excess oil out of that air cleaner, out of that intake. Somebody went crazy with the Loctite. And I'm just going to gently finesse this out so I don't break it off in that intake manifold. Oh, looks like I got to take this cover plate off too. Now I pop these breather bolts out. Now that that's all out of the way, I can get that cleaned up, get my new backing plate on. Cotton swabs are your friend, because you can get in here and get the crud out of these holes so you don't jam it into your engine. Get all this old Loctite out of these threads. There we go. Now let's make sure our new backing plate's going to line up. And it does. It fits perfectly. There we go. All right, let's get all the dust and stuff out of there. All right, I'll grab the new one. Now this requires a little bit of assembly because your mounting screws have to screw in and go through the plate. Hope I'm in frame. And they basically become captive, so they can't fall out easily. There we go, those are in. So, little drop of blue Loctite on each of these screws. Now I get my gasket back in place. I'm gonna just start them in. That's the wrong wrench. Yep, just right. So, with a little drop of blue Loctite on each of the screws and everything lined up in place, just kind of start them in a little bit. I want to leave it just a little bit loose. So now I put my breather bolts in. So the breather bolts also have these rubber coated washers, and you need one to go over the head of the bolt. Apparently the washers are two different sizes, but maybe not. So, rubber washer on each bolt. Little drop of Loctite on each bolt. It's cold, so the Loctite don't want to come out real good. And a rubber washer behind for each breather bolt. Now I can run these down. Just until they contact. Now I can tighten these. These don't need to be super tight. None of them need to be super tight. Just kind of snug. They've got Loctite. They're not gonna come out once the Loctite cures. Just needs to be tight enough to seal it from leaks and keep them from rattling loose. Same with the breather bolts. So there's our backing plate. Now for the air filter. So this was the stock air filter. This is the new one. It's a little bit thicker. It's pretty similar dimensions, I guess. But this is a S&S, and I'm pretty sure the filter's probably made by K&N, so it's going to give you more airflow. And it's going to look better to you. So because my cover has holes in it and you can see through it, I want to put my metal tab at the bottom. Now I can put my cover on. And a tiny drop of Loctite on each screw. There's only 2 of them. I can start my screws in. And run those down. Now, because that's a Harley-Davidson Stage 1 air cleaner, it probably already had a Harley-Davidson tune in it. So I may end up putting the original tune back. We'll find out after I ride it a little bit and read the plugs. But that's not going to happen today because it's cold out and there's snow on the ground. But there we are. There's our sweet S&S Stealth air cleaner, high flow air cleaner. So in just a second, we'll clean her up and set her on the ground and fire it up and see how she likes it. All right, let's light her up. Right. That's not really a real test, and neither is running it on the lift. I do need to take it down the road, but it sounds right and it smells right, so at least we're part of the way there. Needs a road test for the tires too. It's too cold today, there's snow on the ground, there's ice on the roads. So when we get a warm day, I'll road test it, give you an update, I guess. That's it for now. Hope you all have a great day. See you in the next one.